You know, it's a call nobody wants to make. But when something goes wrong, it might be the most important one you ever make. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what happens during an insurance claim, from start to finish.
So, when an accident happens, how does an insurance company actually decide what to pay you? I mean, think about it. It could be a small fender bender or a huge leaky pipe. How did they get from that first panicked phone call all the way to a check in your hand? Well, that's exactly what we're going to map out today. We've broken this whole journey down into 4 main parts. First up, the spark, which is all about filing the claim. Then we dive into the investigation. After that comes the verdict, the big decision, and finally the resolution, where things get settled.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Every single claim has a spark, a moment it comes to life. And that moment? It's when you pick up the phone or go online to report what happened. You're the one who kicks the whole thing off.
So in the insurance biz, they have a name for this first report. It's called the First Notice of Loss, or just FNOL for short. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like the claim's birth certificate. It's the official moment your claim is born and becomes a real thing.
Now, to get that FNOL files, you've got to give them the basics. You know, the who, what, where, and when. And these days, photos and videos are absolutely key. Think of it this way. All this initial info is the foundation. Everything else that happens in the process gets built right on top of it. Okay, so the claim is officially born. Now what? Well, it moves into the next phase, the investigation. This is where your claim gets a personal guide, someone to see it through the process. And that person is the claims adjuster.
And here's something interesting. Not all adjusters are created equal. Depending on your situation, you'll get a different type. For something small and simple, you'll probably just talk to an inside adjuster on the phone. But if there's serious damage, a field adjuster has to actually come out and see it in person. And for those really complicated cases, yeah, they call in the specialists.
But hold on, before that adjuster starts playing detective and digging into what happened, they have to ask one huge, crucial question first, and that is this loss even covered by your policy? You can think of this as the bouncer at the door of the claims process. The adjuster goes through a mental checklist. Is the policy actually active? Were the premiums paid up? Does the policy even cover this type of thing? Are there any specific exclusions that apply? I mean, if the answer is no to any of these, the claims journey can stop dead in its tracks, right then and there.
Okay, but let's say everything checks out. Coverage is confirmed. Boom! We've got a green light. Now the adjuster's real fact-finding mission can begin.
So what are they trying to do here? Basically, they're trying to build a complete 360-degree picture of what went down. They'll talk to you, they'll talk to witnesses, they'll look at police reports, maybe even security footage. And of course, they're going to examine the damage up close to figure out the cause, how bad it is, and ultimately, who's responsible.
All right, this brings us to the real turning point in our story, the verdict. All that investigating, all those facts and figures, now it's time to translate all of that into a dollar amount and a final decision.
So the big question at this stage is pretty straightforward. How much is this loss actually worth? It's the adjuster's job to put a precise price tag on the damage.
And they don't just pull a number out of thin air either. They've got a whole toolbox for this. They use special software, they look at current market rates, they might even bring in outside experts. And of course, they'll get actual repair estimates from mechanics or contractors to figure out the real cost.
So once that number is calculated and all the facts are on the table, the insurance company makes its call. This really is the moment of truth for the claim.
And really, it can only go one of two ways. On one hand, you get an approval. This usually happens when the policy clearly covers the loss, everything seems legit, and all the paperwork is solid. But on the other hand, you could get a denial. That might be because the loss is something specifically excluded, the policy wasn't active, or maybe they suspect fraud or are missing key pieces of information. So let's assume the claim was approved.
We're now in the final act, resolution. This is where the check gets cut and the promise is fulfilled. But is it really the end of the journey? Maybe not.
The settlement part is usually pretty simple. They confirm the final payment amount, and then they send out the money. It might go straight to you, or it could go to the repair shop, for example. And once that payment is made, boom, the claim is officially closed.
But hold on a second. What if someone else was at fault for what happened? This is where a whole other, kind of fascinating final chapter can play out, often completely behind the scenes, long after you've been paid.
There's a legal word for this, subrogation. What does that mean? It basically means your insurance company has the right to step into your shoes and go after the person who is actually at fault to get their money back. See, they paid you first to make things right, and now they're going to go collect from the responsible party. And here's the cool part for you. If they succeed, that's often how you get your deductible back. So it's a big deal. Yeah, this quote really nails it. Let's say you're in a car crash that wasn't your fault. Your insurer might pay for your repairs right away, just to get you back on the road. Then, behind the scenes, they go and collect that money from the other driver's insurance. It's great, right? You're taken care of quickly, and they handle the headache of getting the money back. And there you have it, the entire life of an insurance claim, from that first call all the way to a potential subrogation process. Now that you've seen the whole roadmap, I'm curious, which part of this journey jumps out at you as the most critical? It's a complicated process for sure, but once you understand the steps, it makes a whole lot more sense.